Hello and welcome to Friday's Masterclass edition of Cracking the Cryptic. This is the episode every week where I get to do what the channel was originally designed for, which is to crack a cryptic crossword live on screen, and I will try and talk you through the sort of various tricks that you need to know to solve these wonderful cryptic crosswords. The times on Friday is normally a very hard puzzle, and today the snitch is about 130. Which means it's definitely harder than average. Let's have a quick look at the stats. Okay, the first, well, all the way down to John McCabe in 7th place are typists, I'm almost certain. After that, the times are real. So these are real people from 7, 8, 9. Jason James, I recognise. Alan Saldana is a very, very good solver. Matthew Marcus taking 10 minutes. So that's almost double, I would say, Matthew's average time. So it's clearly a hard puzzle. Let's have a little bit look further down and see if I recognise any other names. Andrew Fisher there. Yes, this is definitely, oh, Tom Stubbs in there at 17 minutes. So this is definitely tricky. Now, have I got my dictionary? I won't use the dictionary. I've got it, except for just to look things up after I know the answer or to explain points. So I'm not going to cheat with the dictionary unless we get really stuck at the end. But I am going to try. And talk you through as best I can what's going on. I don't have any other news for you today, actually. I've got no birthday. Some people like to have their birthday read out in the crossword video. I will just mention that on Monday on the channel, we have a very unusual video, which is a solve that I did with the sort of polymath Kurt Hugo Schneider, who may be familiar to some of you, originally made his name on YouTube as a sort of music maker, music producer, chess ELO rating of over 2,200, world ranked Sudokuist as well. It's quite a cool video. I definitely, if you want to see someone with some serious brains, do have a look at that. As I say, might be out on Monday morning. But with that said and done, let us get cracking. Let's have a look at, it's this one, isn't it? Let's not click the wrong button. And here we go. Is it in the right place on the screen? I think it is. Let's have a look at one across. So, message from above, heralded by 100 saucer-shaped craft. Okay, a lovely surface to the clue that makes me think of space. And okay, let's just have a quick, I don't know what the answer to this one is, but let's just have a quick reminder. All these clues are a bit like mathematical equations. So in a mathematical equation, there's always sort of an equals and then the answer, isn't there? And that's the same with all of these clues. In all of these clues, there will be a definition of the answer to be entered in the space. So let's look at 5 across for a moment. So here, one of these words or part of the clue might be Bowman's instrument, or it might just be Bowman, or it might be arrows from the other end of the clue. That will exactly define the answer. And the rest of the clue is going to be wordplay that tells you how to get that answer. And that might be something telling you to anagram something, or it might be saying put a word inside another word, or reverse a word, or something like that. So if we see stuff that feels like it's an instruction to do something, that's very likely wordplay. So let's now return to this and see if we can actually detect anything about it. Message from above, what could that be? Heralded. If something's heralded by something, it's sort of introduced by it, isn't it? So 100, when you see that in a cryptic crossword clue, it very often is C, actually. And that's because C is the Roman numeral for the number 100. So could this message from above, I'm wondering if this begins with C and it means saucer-shaped craft. And you may say, what's the question mark doing at the end of the clue? That is a very good question. The question mark, typically, it does one of two things. It might say that the example is the answer is an example of a saucer-shaped craft. Or it might be saying, and more likely in this case is saying, it is a saucer-shaped craft that we're looking for. But we have to think about it in a sort of punny way. So it probably won't be a UFO. It'll be something from left field. It'll be a different way of interpreting the words than what seems to be apparent when we read them. Oh, and all of this is to say I haven't got a clue what the answer to this one is. Should we try one down just to have a quick look at that? Detour in force, it's marked by cones. Detour in force. Yeah, okay. So, this is an example of the cryptic crossword writer's craft, because there is a definition in here. It's just not easy to see because it's so beautifully disguised. So what we need to do is to cut the clue in the right place so that we understand which part of this clue is the definition. So make a decision in your mind. Do you think that the definition of this 7-letter answer is detour? Do you think it's detour in force? Do you think it's cones, marked by cones? And the answer is actually, it's after the hyphen. It's marked by cones is the definition of this answer. So how does the rest of the clue then give us this? Detour in force. What's that? What does that mean? What could that mean? Well, it could mean, think of a short synonym for detour and put it inside a short synonym for force. That would be, if you've thought that as a possibility, well done. That is exactly what you should be thinking. However, that is not right here. Detour, if you take a detour, you sort of, you go off in another direction, and anything that indicates mixture or scrambling or detours and things like that can be indicating an anagram. So what we need to do here actually is to anagram in force. The letters of in force need to go on a detour. And if we do that correctly, we can create conifer. And you may say, well, what's that got to do? How is that defined by it's marked by cones? Well, of course, if you look at a conifer tree, then at certain times of the year, it will be marked. It will exhibit, if you like, cones. So that is why this is the answer. It's nothing to do with traffic. So this is another part of the cryptic crossword writer's skill. You read that clue, detour in force, it's marked by cones, and if you're like me, you're thinking about cones on the highway or on the road, and that's what the crossword constructor wants you to think, but it's got nothing to do with the answer. Don't let the images thrown up by the clue distract you. They are not going to help. Now, so then we got the C, which I thought might happen at the start of this one. Message from above. A message from above. The dove from above. I don't know what that's talking about. Let's try the one with an F in it. Wrong of church to take possession of flat. Again, beautifully worded clue. Wrong of church. Yeah, I've got this one. It's that. Okay, as somebody who really appreciates these puzzles, I think this is a beautiful clue. It's beautiful. And again, okay, let's set yourself the task. If you're trying to learn to do these puzzles, where are you going to cut this clue? Is it going to be wrong? Is it going to be wrong of church? Is it going to be flat or possession of flat? Make a decision. And if you think that the definition here, this 7-letter word, is being defined by wrong, well done, you're right, it is. How does the rest of it work? Well, one thing that it might help you to know is that church, when you see that in a cryptic crossword clue, it's almost always one of two things. It's either going to be CH, which I think is what you might see on an audience survey map to mark a church, assuming sometimes it's a plus shape, isn't it? There it is, church. But actually, probably even more often, it's CE. You may say, why is CE, church? Church of England is what CE stands for. There we go, Church of England. So what's happening here is we've got of, in the clue there's the word of. That's actually just in the answer, of church. So of CE is taking possession of, so it is securing, it is on the borders of, a word that means flat. And the word here, I remember that wind that used to blow across the fens when I was at university up in Cambridge, and it was, a fen is a flat, isn't it? A flat piece of land. So offence is the answer, and an offence is a wrong. And so why do I love that clue? I love the of, because it's very hard, unless you've done quite a few of these puzzles, to cut this after the word wrong. Because of church, are there words that mean of church? Well, there aren't, but you have to use the of at the start of the answer. So it's very, very well worded, that one. We'll try 9 across. Admit wrongdoing by publisher binding opponents in contract. Okay, this is actually, if you have experienced these puzzles, this is a write-in. But for it, I mean, actually, looking at it, you might be able to get it even if you've never done a cryptic crossword clue before. So here what we need to do, admit wrongdoing. What could that be? 3-2. And if you're thinking own up, you're right, it is own up. Why is it own up? Well, the publisher here, if you ever see publisher, it's almost always the Oxford University Press, OUP, there it is, OUP, binding, so surrounding, opponents in contract. Why is that WN? Well, if you're a bridge player, you'll be familiar with, in bridge, it's 2 pairs of players playing against each other, north-south placed east-west. And so opponents in contract bridge would be west and north. And that's what's being sort of done in the wordplay. So we'll have a look at this, 8 down. My order turned up around noon from North Africa. I haven't got this yet, but okay, my guess is that this is going to be the name of somebody from North. Moroccan would be good, wouldn't it? Moroccan feels right to me. I feel like that's got core in it, and the exclamation. If you said "oh my," that would be the same as saying core, wouldn't it? So in my mind, my and core are very synonymous. I think Moroccan is right. I don't know why yet. Let's just try and work out why. Okay, so core OM is my order. I'll explain why in a moment. Around CAN. Okay, so how does this work? From North Africa, Moroccan. That's the definition. My is core, COR. Order is OM. And that's because if we look in the dictionary, OM will see order of merit. It's one of these, there it is, order of merit. Another of these abbreviations that in the end, you'll just become familiar with. It's like learning any new language. And that's really what we're doing here. We're learning how to read the language we know in a different way, in a new way. And so you have to pick up these abbreviations. And at the start, it'll feel completely unfair and daunting to do that. But honestly, it will only take you a few weeks. If you watch 3 or 4 of these videos, you'll see they come up over and over again. So core om reversed, around, well, circa. It's around this value. We'd say circa this value, wouldn't it? CA is circa. And then noon is just N. And again, we can't, you may be saying, gosh, all these words are just being abbreviated to their initial. They are all supported by the dictionary. So you have to be, if you really want to get into cryptic crosswords, then it is worth investing in a good dictionary. There we go, noon. Just so that you can quickly check what are the valid abbreviations. Indeed, if you really wanted to, you could sort of, if you go to A and just study them for a while, here's most of the ones beginning with A. There are going to be more. If we go down a bit further, there's a whole bunch more. But even just reading through them for each letter, you'll start to appreciate what might be a valid abbreviation. Now, many of these actually you won't see in the Times. They're considered they're considered too obscure. So looking here, I don't think you'd see active. I don't think you'd see accepted. You'd see those in the listener crossword. So if you've ever opened the Times on a Saturday, you might have seen the listener crossword, which is a crossword without any blocks. It just has bars in the grid. Now in those puzzles, everything goes. You can have all the weird abbreviations, but in the Times they tend to stick to things that won't surprise you too much when you discover that they are being abbreviated. So far it's this is a famous last words, that it's not been too difficult. Own Up, Offence, Moroccan, I think most people will get those. Even Conifer wasn't too bad. I know I didn't get one across yet, but let's try 2 down. One releasing locks to allow access to tower. It's another, just the wording of it is so smooth. One releasing locks. Okay, I'll tell you what this is making me think about. I don't think it's right quite, but I'm thinking if you let down your hair, you release locks, don't you? If you've got locks of hair. So one releasing locks, I want to say it's like can you unpin her? Is there such a thing as an unpinner? To allow access to tower. If you allow access to something, you open it. I really want to put open in the middle of this. One releasing locks. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's try 13 across. Assortment of bread enclosed in oriental dishes. That's a very nicely worded clue again, isn't it? Assortment of bread. Well, yeah, okay, I've got this one. These are, oh yeah, I suppose Oriental Eastern. Okay. Okay. So how do we work? Again, make up your mind. What do you think the definition is here? It's a very tricky definition. I will say that. So if you get this, well done. Do you think it's assortment? By the way, if you thought assortment of bread might be indicating an anagram of bread, brilliant. That is exactly what I thought when I first read the clue, and it's exactly how your brain should be thinking. Assortment of bread enclosed in oriental dishes. So I'll tell you that the definition here is assortment of bread, but it's not bread as in something you eat. Can you think of another meaning of bread? And bread is sometimes money, isn't it? So this is assortment of money. And the answer is currencies. And now it might be good if you haven't spotted why it's currencies. Have a look again at the clue, the rest of the clue, because the rest of the clue now has to explain why the answer is currencies. Now, if you saw ENC on a letter, it would indicate there's an enclosure, wouldn't it? So enclosed is about, it shouldn't surprise or shock to know that ENC can be enclosed or enclosure. So enclosed here is ENC, and ENC is in oriental dishes, which are curries here. So it's not oriental as in sort of Chinese. It's not that far east. It's just as far east as well, I suppose actually curries I always associate with India, but you get Thai curries as well, don't you? So yeah, I mean, or anyway, curries are clearly in some senses at least oriental dishes. So we've got currencies. Let's go back to this one then. One releasing locks to allow access to tower. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll try 3 down. Unit that is led by mounted police no longer active. Oh. Okay, I don't know what this is, but there's lots of stuff going on here that's very... I can't. I know I should be able to write this in, but I can't. Anyway, that is led by. Let's think about that phrase. What could that mean? That is led by. And the thing that is important to sort of get your head around here is that why are so many words used? If the constructor just wanted to say led by, why does the constructor write that is led by? Because led by means the same as that is led by, doesn't it? They don't have vastly different meanings. So the reason the constructor has used that is led by is because it's necessary for the wordplay. And that is, of course, has a very common abbreviation, id est, i.e. So that is led by is going to be this. It's going to be i.e. at the end of this clue. Unit, I'm not sure. That could be a unit as in one. Mounted police. Now mounted police, I think MP might be mounted police as an abbreviation, but I'm not sure. And there could be old mounted police forces that I'm not remembering. There's no longer active stuff here. Oh, Curie is a scientific unit. I quite like that. So imagine that CUR was a valid abbreviation for some old mounted police. Something Ulster Regiment or something? I wonder. I don't know. I mean that I quite like that as a thought. But I can't look it up because I don't know whether CUR is that. And obviously, if I look up in the dictionary and under CUR there is not the name of a defunct mounted police force, then I've learnt something I didn't deserve to know to solve the clue. So I'm not going to do that. I'll only look it up if the C and the R are confirmed by the checking letter, so I'm not going to change the answer. But I think this might be a C, this might be an R. Let's go back to this. Is this chancel then? No. Message from above. Heralded by 100. I think that's this C. Saucer-shaped craft. Craft is a clever word, isn't it? Because it could be a plural word or a singular word. Saucer-shaped chalet. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not doing very well with that one. Now, could this be an R? Disgusting ruling backed up boards. Okay. That is beautiful again. Okay, I can say now the constructor of this puzzle has serious talent. This is beautiful. And I've been significantly helped by thinking about this being an R. So, again, let's go through the exercise. Can you tell what the definition is? Now, the only way really of doing it here is to try and think about the rest of the words in the clue and think about whether that you're being given an instruction. And don't forget, you might be being given this instruction in a very elliptical way. It might not be clear. So if you had the thought disgusting might be an anagram indicator, maybe I have to anagram ruling here. Brilliant. Absolutely the right sort of thought to have. But it's not what is actually happening here. The definition of this 9-letter answer is disgusting. So we need a word that means disgusting in 9 letters. Ruling backed up boards. I mean, when I explain this, you're going to see how beautiful it is if you haven't got it. So there is a word, as a 7-letter word, which means ruling, as in if you're a king or queen and you're ruling over an empire or country, the word is regnant, R-E-G-N-A-N-T. And now you might be able to get, if you're thinking about what's the word that means disgusting, it's repugnant. And there you can see regnant has surrounded pu, which is a backed up, it's a reversal of the word up that has boarded. It's got on board. It's inside. It's sort of like, you know, if you embark upon a ship or something, you've boarded a plane. You are now inside the plane, aren't you? So inside the word regnant for ruling, we have the reversal of up. The reversal of up has boarded regnant to give repugnant, which means disgusting. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful clue. Let's look up regnant. Here we go. Reigning. Not a queen. Prevalent. Yeah. So I mean, that's what's going on. So I quite like Curie here now. Shall we try? Let's try 5 down. Party drugs, a turn up for the books. The opposite. Oh, okay. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to. Let me just explain, because this does come up sort of twice a month. You'll see a clue that says the opposite in it, and what that means is I'm not going to use this clue as an example. Let's say the clue read something like man in island. And then it said the opposite. What it means there is, in an ordinary cryptic reading, we'd be thinking of a word for man and we'd be putting that inside a word for island. But when it says the opposite, it means do the opposite. So actually put a word for island inside a word for man. So the opposite here is almost certainly part of the wordplay. So we must be looking at the other side of the clue, party or party drugs, for the definition. Probably party, I would guess. Drugs, a turn up for the books. Drugs, short synonyms for drugs. Let's think about that. One that comes up a lot is the drug E. So literally the letter E. So drugs might be ES or something. Ice, ICE, I think has a drugs connotation. I'm not very good on knowing exactly what drugs they are, but ice, I think, can mean drugs. Tab. Drugs, a turn up for the books. Oh no, I'm wrong. I've totally misled you. I'm so sorry. Everything I've said to you is true, except it's wrong here. I said at some point in the last minute or two of discourse that it was almost certainly the case that party or party drugs was the definition. It's not. Believe it or not, it's a turn up for the books, ? The opposite that is being defined here. It's clever. It's clever because it's misleading. This is probably easier to solve, this clue, if you've never seen a cryptic crossword clue before. The answer is dog ear. So in a book, obviously, you get the dog ear, which is when you fold over, to mark your page. So it's not a turn up for the books, it's much more a turn down within the book. So it's the opposite of a turn up for the books, would be a dog ear. Why is it dog ear? Well, then we have to look at the party drugs to tell us why, for the wordplay. If you go to a do would be a party, and drugs, gear, is what's going on. So we've got do gear, dog ear. And I've misled you a little bit, but hopefully you can forgive me. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, 5 across. Let's have a look at this. Bowman's instrument for withdrawing arrows. A bowman's instrument for withdrawing arrows. I don't know what this is. If I was forced to make a guess, I would think that this. Oh no, I've got it now. Okay, my thought was correct. I just hadn't got the answer. Now I have got the answer. I think this means arrows, and it does. And Bowman's instrument for withdrawing is saying, think of an instrument for a bowman and withdraw it, reverse it. Now, the trick here is to realise that the bowman is actually a violinist. And if you're very fortunate, you might get to play a Stradivarius, and so which I think can be abbreviated to Strad. So a reversal of Strad gives darts, and darts are arrows in the tradition of Sid Waddell, one of my very favourite commentators on anything. He's not Adonis. He's the Donis. Anyway, before I start doing all my Sid Waddell quotes, I'm moving swiftly on. Alexander of Macedonia cried salt tears at the age of 28 because there were no more worlds left to conquer. Bristow's only 27. Oh God. Anyway, let's move on. 7 down. Revolutionary is fool. To back strike action. Okay. Not too bad again here, especially given the letters we've got. So again, try and make a decision. But bear in mind, things like words like revolutionary, obviously it could mean like Lenin or something. It could be. But revolutionary, I mean, it's very indicative of moving things around, revolving them, turning them backwards, isn't it? So it's quite possible revolutionary is an instruction, in which case, remember, the other side of the clue is going to be the definition, which means we're probably looking at action or strike action. And I can certainly think of strike action that would fit in here, and the word is, or the phrase is sit in. Now that's going to be right, because here, revolutionary is fool. Well, a nit is a fool, so is nit, reverse it, and we get sit in. Nit is backwards. So not too bad. And then 6 down, take over again on parking in a small spot. Take over again. I know what I want this to be. Yeah, okay. So, take over again on parking in a small spot. What do you think the definition is? Now, the word again here is helpful. Because if you think about the structure of words that indicate doing things again, it's very often, re something, isn't it? And that looks quite good with our R here. So, this is a 7-letter word which means take over again. Now, if something is on the subject of something, it's re-it. So this word on here is actually cluing the start of this answer, re. Parking, if you saw a P on a sign, you'd know exactly what it meant. It would mean parking, wouldn't it? So parking here is the letter P. In a small spot. Well, a small spot, note the A here, is a dot. So the answer then is readopt, to take over again. But the thing I want to focus on is the A in the clue. Let's read the clue again without the A in it. Take over again on parking in small spot. It means the same. So what I mean by it means the same is it doesn't have any significant difference in what it's saying, but it would be inaccurate, because from a wordplay perspective we would have the re from the on, we would have the P from parking, but small spot does not define a dot. Small spot is the word dot. It is not a dot. Because if it's a dot, it could be the dot. It could be to go back to Sid Waddell. Anyway, so this A is important because it is actually cluing very specifically this A in the answer. So be on the lookout. Even if we just scan these clues, you can see how few indefinite articles are in the clues. There are very few A's, are there? You know, look here in 20 cross. Irish making comeback in tight match, tie 1-1. It doesn't say Irish making a comeback in a tight match. It could do, but it doesn't. So if you see A in a clue, it very often is necessary for the wordplay, and it is here. So is this platoon? Dragoon. Dragon. Yes, battle axe catching old cavalryman. So a dragon is a battle axe that catches an abbreviation for old, which is O. Now here we don't know which of the O's is being caught, but one of them is, and we get cavalryman, the dragoons. So let's have a look at 4 down. Broadcast of next episode having turned out so timely. Broadcast of next episode timely. Yes, okay, so I've got this one. And it's another beautiful clue. Yeah, it is beautiful. Wow. Okay. Okay, so have a go again. Try and work out what you think the definition is. Is it broadcast? Is it broadcast of next episode? Well, you can probably rule that out. There can't be 9-letter words that mean the broadcast of the next episode of something. So it's either going to mean broadcast, or we're going to go to the other side of the clue, and it would probably mean timely, or so timely. That's weird. It probably wouldn't mean that. So broadcast or timely is what we're looking for. And the key to knowing which is to think about the word broadcast. If you broadcast something, you scatter it. So we are looking at an anagram here. We're looking at a scattering of the letters of next episode. And you may say, well, hang on, next episode isn't 9 letters. You're right, it's not. It's 11. But if we broadcast next episode having turned out the word so, which you can see hidden there in the word episode, then we have the anagram fodder we need, and we can create expedient. And expedient is a word that means timely. So let's go back to this. Now, is this coracle is what I'm wondering now. That is a craft. Oracle. Yeah, okay. I think that's okay, isn't it? So what I think the way it works is the message from above is an oracle. Like the Oracle of Delphi. I mean, I've never thought of it really as a message from above. I've always thought of an oracle as somebody who predicts the future without necessarily it being from above. It might be just from within their brains. But that must be right. A coracle is a saucer-shaped craft. So I'm definitely not changing that. I'm going to go with Curie, and I'm going to look up some things to remove my ignorance. So oh, it's not there. C-U-R? No, it's really not. Ah. Oh, have I missed an option? Let me just think about this. I'm not changing coracle. Unit. So I think it's the scientific unit being the Curie. That is, i.e., led by mounted police. Oh, RUC. Oh, it's clever. It's clever. It is Curie. But mounted police, I was thinking, stupidly, it turns out, of police on horseback. It's not. It's a down clue. So if we mount something, we can reverse it. And the police no longer active are the Royal Ulster Constabulary, who operated in Northern Ireland. RUC is what we were looking for. So RUC, nothing to do with horses, or at least not explicitly to do with horses, and we reverse that there. Oh yeah, and I wanted to look up oracle. Is it oracle sort of divine revelation? I suppose we always associate the divine with something from above. The word of God, yeah, okay. So coracle is right. Let's try and get this one. What do we think? Oh, this was the one about the locks. One releasing locks. Oh, open in the middle doesn't look good, does it? To allow access to tower. One releasing. One releasing locks to allow access to tower question mark, which could mean, if we read the word tower differently, we could read it as tower, couldn't we? Something that pulls something. Access to tower. One releasing. Oh dear, I don't know what this is. Hang on. Am I just missing? Is this obvious? It probably is obvious. Repenter? No. One releasing. I'm going to hope my brain thinks about that. I really hate leaving answers behind, though. Locks to allow access to tower. One releasing locks to allow access. If you allow access to something, or to allow could be to let. Could this be let at the end? I don't think so. Access. No, I don't know. Okay, let's go on. 15 across. Wingers going over for try. Yeah, okay. So again, hopefully you're trying to work out which side of the clue is the definition. And here, it's not too difficult to work it out because of this phrase going over. Wingers going over. For, and here the mathematical nature of the clues comes to the fore, because the word for here is doing the duty of the equal sign. So the way we couldn't read this clue grammatically is to say the phrase going over, which tends to indicate reversal, it can't mean reverse the word for try. Going over for try. If it was try going over, that would mean reverse try, but a going over for try is a really forced meaning for that to be saying let's reverse a word for try. Much more likely it's a reversal of a word winger or wingers. To equal a word for a try. So can you think of a word for a try that fits here? And the word that I thought of was stab. If you have a stab at something, you have a try of it. And so the way it works is the winger is the bat, and this apostrophe S here is this S. So bat apostrophe S is going over to give stab, and that's the answer. Let's try 18 across. 1 of A to G. Note. Yes and no. I think, is that punning on not E? I think it is. 1 of A to G would be a note. Literally, A, B, C, D, E, F and G are all musical notes. But if we look at the word note, it could be read as not E. And that sort of not E is not one of the notes A to G, is it? So I think that's what that's getting at. I think it's sort of a pun. And then let's try 19 down. Senator charged for attempting to overthrow government. Gosh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I know what this is. It's slightly tricky. So again, try and work out what you think the definition is. And the hardest part of this clue, I think, is the word charged, which I think is being used as an anagram indicator here. And I'm not entirely sure I know why. I mean, you can charge a glass, which means to fill it. things can charge. Like if a rhino charged at me, that would definitely scatter me all over the place. But it doesn't say rhino charged into senator. But I think what we're being told here is anagram the word senator to create the word treason, which would be an attempt to overthrow the government. So let's have a look at, I'm not changing that. So I want to look at charge and see in what sense it means, you know, it's telling us to anagram something. Let's just have a look. Hang on. To deliver. To load. No, that's in as in to fill, as in to fill up a glass. To burden doesn't really mean scatter, does it? To cause, to accumulate electricity. No. To place a bearing upon. To attack in a rush. And if you attack a word, maybe you anagram it. Senator charged. I don't know. Not very. I think I'm just not thinking of the. I'm not thinking of the sense of the word that aligns with the anagram indication there. But I'm pretty sure treason is right. Let's try 14 down. Lift installed by Minder, who's taken over running the estate. Again, it sort of conjures an image in your mind. Lift installed by Minder, who's taken over running the estate. I don't know. I mean, the words that are jumping in my head aren't words. I was thinking of car keeper. I was running the estate, ? Made me wonder if what we were meant to read the clue as is running the estate car rather than running the mansion and the grounds of the mansion. So somebody who's taken over running the car would be the car keeper or the car buyer or the car. Well, actually, a minder is a carer, isn't it? So lift. Okay, let's just think about this a bit more seriously then. Lift. 4-letter word for lift. Installed into the word for minder. The car. Lift can be to steal as well, can't it? As well as to raise. Jack. Carjacker. Wow, that's difficult. That's difficult. So to jack is to lift a car. You jack it up, don't you? And a carjacker, somebody who's taken over running the estate. Well, they've taken it over in quite a forced way. They've robbed it. But carjacker will be the answer now. Okay, the moment you see a J in a cryptic crossword, we have to be on the lookout for a pangram. Yeah, we've got X, we've got K. So I'm now on the lookout for Q's and Z's. Now, can I put a Z in that one? Rapunzel. Oh my goodness, I can. Rapunzel. Oh, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? The answer is yes. The whole thing is a definition. One releasing locks. I'm not brilliantly familiar, but wasn't she in a tower? And then she let down her hair to allow somebody to climb up and get her. So it's a cryptic definition. Beautiful. Very, very clever. And I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I think that is the spelling of Rapunzel. I'm very bad at spelling, but I don't think it's Rapunzel, is it? It's Rapunzel, I think. And I've only got that because I got the J here. So this is great. Now we're on the lookout for a Q. Let's have a look at 20 across. Irish making we read this one earlier. Irish making a comeback in tight match, tie 1-1. Irish making a comeback. Irish can be abbreviated to IR, so maybe that's here. IR making a comeback in tight match. I'm not sure I like that actually. Tie 1-1. it's a really clever clue again, because I don't have a clue what's going on in it. Let's try 16 down. Attractive person keeping company with maiden. Attractive person is sort of a bow or something like that, or a bell. Beauty keeping company with maiden. No, it doesn't say question mark. Maiden is an over in cricket, but a maiden is an example. Yeah, so let me just talk about something technically here. I started to think maybe this ends in over, because I think my brain was going towards lover or something, but I don't think that would be technically right, because you can't use maiden as a synonym for over. The maiden is an example of a type of over in which no runs are scored. So if it had a question mark at the end of this clue, then this could have ended in over. But it doesn't. So I don't think maiden does define over. Attractive person keeping company. Company can be CO as an abbreviation. So maybe an attractive person. 6-letter attractive person. Oh, cow. W can be abbreviation for with, sorry. So maybe a 5-letter attractive person with COW in the middle to give a word meaning a maiden. Oh no, I'm on the wrong. I know I'm on the wrong track here. So no, company with maiden could be COM. Attract, becoming, being. Yes, there we go. Okay, so here is a great example of my inability to cut the clue in the correct place. Now, and that's because we are so used to the way we read, the way our brains interpret words is we group them together a lot of the time. So when we look at this clue, attractive person keeping company with maiden, it's very difficult, as you just saw, for me to say, oh, attractive, put that to one side, person keeping company with maiden. We read attractive person just together, don't we? I don't know why, but we do, or I do. And that's wrong. It doesn't help me to solve the clue. We needed to cut it after the word attractive. If something is becoming, it's attractive. The person is the being, and that keeps CO for company with M for maiden. And M is a valid abbreviation for maiden from cricket scorecards. So what's this then? Irish making a comeback in tight match. Tie 1-1. I know what I want it to be. Well, not what I want it to be, but the way I want to read the clue is Irish, which I've already said could be IR, makes a comeback, RI, in an anagram of match tie. Now you may say, well, hang on, what if you're anagramming match tie, what's telling you to do that? Well, the word tight can mean drunk, can't it? And drunk, if you treat letters in a drunken way, that would absolutely be an anagram indicator. So I think this might be match tie anagrammed around RI to give, I don't know what this is defining, 1 space 1 question mark, which makes you think it's a score in a game. But it could be, what else could it be? And if that was the correct interpretation, well then I might go back to putting my RI there. So how could we do this then? 1-1. Match tie anagrammed with IR to give something that means 1-1. Is it arithmetic or something? 1 minus 1. Is it? Oh, I see. Arithmetic. Okay, that's really good. Yeah, it's an example of arithmetic. Arithmetic will be a different way and an unuseful way of pronouncing that. So, arithmetic, 1 minus 1 is an example of arithmetic. Isn't that brilliant? So it was RI for Irish. Sorry, I was a bit slow to that one. We didn't find the Q, but let's look at 17 down. India allowed to detain a politician without need for express statement. Okay, well, this is easier. Definitely easier. Let's talk about why. India. When you see that in cryptic crossword clues, it is useful to have an awareness for the sort of international radio alphabet. And India, if you're on the radio and you said India, you would be indicating the letter I. So Romeo is R, Alpha is A, Bravo is B, etc. So that India is I. If you see politician, short synonyms or abbreviations for politicians, MP is the most usual one. There. If something is allowed, in a legal sense, it is licit. So we can construct implicit here quite quickly. And if something is without the need for express statement, it's implicit. So that one is a lot easier than some of the others. Let's try 21. Oh, okay, I haven't read the clue, but I've seen extremists in theory. What if we have got our cryptic crossword mind on, how should we be thinking about that? That is saying take the extreme letters of the word theory. So it's not talking about, people who hold extreme positions in some theory. It's saying look at the word theory and take its extreme letters, the first letter and the last letter. So this is going to begin TY, I think. Oversaw, ran. New York, NY. Tyranny is an oppressive system. So not too difficult once we had the thought. Now, is this fulcrum now? Pilgrim, it's the road to Canterbury. Irrational learner, driver, threatening person on the road to Canterbury. So again, if we read the clue as a sentence, it conjures up an image in our mind. But we've been lucky here because we've got so many checking letters. It looks like the answer's pilgrim. So we don't have to worry about it conjuring naughty images in our mind. Irrational. Well, pi is an irrational number. You cannot express it accurately as a fraction. So pi is the irrational. Learner driver, L, that is what you'd see on the car of a learner driver. Threatening something is threatening, it's grim. And then a person on the road to Canterbury, you'll be probably all familiar with the Canterbury Tales. So the pilgrims. Now, canon here? Clergyman is a canon. Peace making a considerable impression in sermon. Yeah, okay. So this is an interesting clue. There's normally quite a few clues. In a normal cryptic crossword, there'll be at least 2 or 3 homophones. So these are clues where you can hear a word, but it's spelt differently to the word you hear. So I want to think about the word canon here, C-A-N-N-O-N. Now that is a piece, as in a weapon, isn't it? That would make a considerable impression. Well, a cannon would make a considerable impression. It makes great big dents in things. So the phrase "in sermon" here is referring. A sermon is something we might hear. The Sermon on the Mount. It wasn't written down, was it? It was something that was spoken. So, in sermon is saying we'd hear the word cannon, the weapon making the big impression, C-A-N-N-O-N, but that would sound exactly the same as C-A-N-O-N, which is an example of the clergyman. So the clergyman is the canon that we hear, if you see what I mean, is how we need to interpret that. We still haven't found the Q, and that's not going to be Q, is that re-entry. Frosts never receding, with temperature by turn of year coming back down. Coming back down is re-entry for a spaceship. Frost's never. I think this is Robert Frost, the poet. And so the phrase near, N-E-E-R, might be a poetical way of writing never. So that's receding with temperature, which can be abbreviated to T. A turn of year. Year can be YR as an abbreviation, and that's turned to give RY. So there's quite a lot going on there, actually. But again, we're so helped by the checking letters. Now let's just look up near, and now it's not there. It should be here somewhere. Sometimes when they have apostrophes in them. There we go. Contraction of never. Actually, it doesn't say poetical contraction, but it is. I mean, I don't think you'd see this in. If I wrote this in an email to to one of you, you'd think I'd gone mad, or I was probably behaving quite normally. Oh no, I was thinking peak here for my Q, but that's going to make this a very strange word. Let's try 24 down. Anyway, animal expert, spending time chasing water bug. Animal expert, zoologist, spending time chasing water bug. An expert is a pro. I don't know what this is actually. Animal expert spending time chasing water bug. I don't know what that is. Okay, we're going to have to. Let's try this one. It ends in A. Mirrors used for inspecting upscale complex. Oh, okay. I don't know what this is, but it's going to be an anagram of upscale. We're going to treat the letters of an upscale in a complex way. And then mirrors used for inspecting. I guess this is probably... Oh, specular. Yes. Okay. I have heard of a specular. Or I've heard of a speculum. And I guess the plural will be specula. I think they're used by doctors to see into places that are normally hard to see into. So specular is going to go there. Then part of wicket. Is this stump? Yes. Test umpire checks. So I think the rules around this sort of clue have changed a little bit, but I used to be correct when I said that there can only ever be one of these in any Times crossword. And then I think I did see that there were two in a Times crossword once, and so maybe it's allowed, but it's a rare thing. If you're new to these puzzles, it's always exciting because this feels like a clue you can always get, because the answer is actually spelt out in the clue. So if you look in the words test umpire, you can see spelt out S-T-U-M-P, which is part of a wicket, the stump. So a wicket is made up of 3 stumps. Now, it's very, very important to realise that when this happens in a clue, the constructor can't just hide the answer in the clue and leave it there for you to discover. The constructor has to tell you that they've hidden the answer in the clue. And the word that tells you it here is checks, because if something checks something, it sort of constrains it, doesn't it? So what the constructor is saying here is that the phrase test umpire constrains or contains within it the answer that we're looking for, which is stump. So the word checks is what's explaining everything. Now, so in terms of my ability to put a Q in this, I think it's there. Parisian, who is key, isn't it? In French. Cut a piece of cake is oh no, queasy. It must be queasy. Yeah. So Parisian who is key, Q-U-I. We cut that as is in the French word for who. We cut that, we shorten it by 1 letter, so we just get Q-U. A piece of cake. If something's a piece of cake, it's easy. And feeling sick is queasy. So we found the Q. It's going to be a pangram. And we've got 3 to do. I don't know if we're missing a letter at this point. Should we have a quick look? D, E. Have we had it? Yes, we've had F. Have we had, yes, G? Have we had H? Yes, arithmetic. I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Have we had, oh yes, we've had P. We've had Q. R, S. I think we've had them all. T, U. Have we had V, actually? I don't know. I can't remember typing a V. And have we had W? We've certainly had X, Y, and Z, or Z. So it's V and W. We must have had them. Hang on. We must have had at least one of them. Why can't I see them? I don't know, actually. So maybe we need to be on the lookout for V and W down here. Let's try this one. Loose articles of French clothing shed. Loose. If you loose something, you set it free. You unshackle it. That's beautiful. It's right, and it's beautiful. There's been about 4 of these clues in this puzzle that are worded so perfectly. Is that... Oh, I typed the wrong letter. No, that is the right letter. Unshackle. Why is it unshackle? Articles of French. Sometimes you see this in... and it is important. We've actually just seen one with knowing that the French word for who was key. But here, French articles, the definite article is the word the indefinite article is the word a. In French, that's un, un, for the indefinite article, and le for the definite article. So articles of French is un and le. And they are clothing, they are surrounding a 5-letter word for a shed, which is a shack. And that creates unshackle, which means to free or to loose. So loose articles of French clothing shed. Yeah, it's just beautiful. I mean, I just think that's so superbly worded. Now, if we do need a V, peeve would fit here. Oh, if you bug somebody, you peeve them. Pet. Vet, an animal expert. Okay. Okay, I think the way this works is, so to peeve is to bug. An animal expert is a vet, which spends its abbreviation for time, which is T, as in Newton's laws of motion. V equals ut plus a half at squared, things like that. So time is T. Take that out of vet, the animal expert, and that's chasing P for water, as in I think to go to the loo. I think is what that's getting at. Water is a euphemism for P, isn't it? I think that's what's happening, and so that means, have we had a W, or have I just missed it? It would be such a shame if this didn't have the pangrammatic quality because of a missing W. I'm so sorry. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, there is a W. Okay, so I think we are in pangram territory, and all we've got to do is finish off with 27 across little finger stained by pen on page. Your little finger is your pinky, and stained by a pen. If something's stained by a pen, it would be inky, and that's on. So the word inky is on. It's next to an abbreviation for page, which is P. So that is the answer to the puzzle, and I think absent spelling mistakes, that is going to be correct. And it's a very, very high class puzzle. That I really like that. There were many moments of just enjoying a very classy clue writer. So that's how to do today's Times crossword. Now, if you'll permit me, I will have a quick go, hopefully, at the quick cryptic, and I will race on this one, so I won't give any explanations, but just to show you what's possible if you have a bit of practice. So funds invested in Canberra, say. Oh, what's that? I don't know. Capital? Yeah. Canberra is the capital of Australia. Class group of performers in... It's cast, that's a homophone. The trend was so crazily, pleasantly sweet, short and sweet. I can't type, that's never helpful. Let's try 2 down. Expert pro, with vitality helping to create sudden growth. Proliferation, I think. Life ration. It ties, it must be old tax. Stretch of lane narrowing through only at the edges. Stretch. Lane. Length. It's first and last letters of things. Is this evident? Noticeable. Oh, it must be evident. Oh, event. Yes, it is evident. I can't explain it. It's too long. Breakdown will. Testament? No. Breakdown. Gestate. In. Don't know. Journey across ridge. Let's go back to this then. Breakdown will. Resolve. Snazzily attired toddler likes dancing around middle of nursery. Dresses to kill or something? Snazzily attired, dressed to kill. Yeah, I think it's that way around. Cars from European countries, estates. We sort of thought about that. Is that list? Yeah. Rough edges covering old rocks. Geodes? I think it is geodes. That's quite a difficult word for the Times Quick Cryptic. Tense on edge, I'm going to go for without thinking too much about it. PC in charge enters bid. Officer. Defects in fine pieces. Flaws. Become enraged. Go spare. Go spar. E. One rejecting issues relating to global warming, climate denier, I would have thought, without actually testing it. Selection of peeled fruit, range, oranges, or something without its first and last letter. Ideal world, a trial, at best, would be in an ideal world. I can't type. No, bad Simon. In all respects, it's a reason you might use a school. In all respects, I don't know. First bits of what? Ripstop inserted carefully inside ragged hat. What is that talking about? Trike, I don't know. Awkward characters held up. That is inept. That's a hidden reversal. I need to really get this one. Initially, narky, irritated. Okay, so is this totally? Yeah, it is. I don't know why. And this tricorn is a hat. I was verging on that before, but then failed to see it. So there you go. That's what you can do if you sort of guess. No, terrible time. 19th. Barely in the top 10%. Let's see. I mean, look at that. 212 from John McCabe. It's just ridiculous. I mean, John is a very, very good typist. I am in no doubt about that. Yesterday's time on the Times crossword, I think John did under 3 minutes on a puzzle which was not, I mean, it just wasn't a sub 3 minute puzzle. A sub 3 minute puzzle is a puzzle where you can just go as, you don't even have to almost think. And one of the answers yesterday was Tomesis, wasn't it? Which is just not a word. It's just not a word that there we go. I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly. But anyway, that's what's possible if you're properly good at solving. But anyway, I hope that was useful. I hope that me talking through the clues helped with your own solving a little bit, and some of those principles at least you can take away and add to your arsenal when you're doing the solving by yourselves. If you do enjoy these videos, please do give them a bit of love. We say this every week, but it would really help. The YouTube algorithm does not respect cryptic crosswords for reasons that we do not understand, but it just seems to be the case. So even though I know some of you will still be watching this video now, and for that, thank you. You know, and it's quite rare on YouTube for videos to be watched for 75 minutes. But the algorithm, you'd think, would go, whoa, some people really like this, so we should throw it around more widely. But it doesn't. So, but if you could drop a like or a kind comment, or even subscribe, which of course is totally free. It's totally free to subscribe to a YouTube channel. It just indicates to the algorithm that you enjoy our content. We would be most grateful. And yeah, we'll see you again later for another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.